and the egg white, called albumin. The yolk rotates as it develops, twisting fibers into rope-like strands that anchor the yolk. They transform the white stringy substance, often seen after cracking a fresh egg. The eggshell, a crystalline form of calcium carbonate, is deposited around the egg just before it's laid. At Roseacre Farms, when eggs leave the hen houses, they travel into breeding facilities, where they're inspected, sized, and prepared for market. After passing through an automated egg wash, it's time for QC, quality control.
What that person is doing is looking for the bad eggs. Bad eggs mean bloods, leakers, or really dirty eggs that will not get cleaned. What we got in here is 6 cameras that are floating down on the eggs as they go through. Once the camera finds the dirt, pinpoints it, the computer remembers where it is on the roll, and it's re-washed automatically.
Eggs then move across computer-controlled sensors that check for cracks and weigh the eggs.
The computer will know what size it is, and then it'll say, okay, you are a medium, you're a large, you're an S, or a jumbo. It'll know where to take it down the line to the carton where it needs to be packed.
Here, eggs are also graded. Double A's have the smallest air cells, grade A's slightly larger, and grade B's larger still, with some discoloration. Finally, workers prepare thousands of cartons of fresh eggs for shipment. Normal shelf life for refrigerated eggs is 3 to 4 weeks.
We're in the cooler right now. It's about 36 degrees in here. Where the eggs are stored for a couple days, or the day of to be shipped out.
To be clear, we've never been accused of being flashy, sexy, or lit.
I got so many videos on YouTube. On YouTube later, it's not funny. I'm going to be doing some videos later on tonight. What's your problem, Whistle? Phil needs to stop being a jerk.
Dental Lab. What's your name, boy? My name's Jack Daniel. Someday, see how one distiller had to outshine his competition to build an empire.
Jack Daniel bet his career on making good stuff as opposed to cheap stuff.
This is the best whiskey I've ever tasted. The Booze, Bets, and Sex That Built America. Sunday at 8, only on the History Channel. Now return to the egg on Modern Marvels.
The egg.
With efficient egg production comes environmental challenges. As manure dries, ammonia forms. Levels need to be carefully monitored. Too much ammonia can cause respiratory problems for birds and humans. Scientists from Iowa State University's Egg Industry Institute are working with Roseacre to develop new ways to control ammonia emissions.
We're inside what we call the Mobile Air Emission Monitor Unit. We basically have shown in the lab that different diets can affect the ammonia emission from laying hen manure.
Hens are fed a diet of corn, soybean, vitamins, and minerals. In labs at Iowa State, variations of that diet are fed to chickens in controlled observation chambers to determine not only the effects physically, but psychologically. As a result of animal welfare concerns and legislation in Europe and the United States, alternatives to traditional cage production are becoming more common. Producers like Roseacre have begun establishing cage-free facilities. Smaller companies like Petaluma Farms in Northern California have been cage-free for more than 20 years. Petaluma Farms routinely houses between 50 and 60,000 hens.
I need to watch RD Archives. I'm going to watch that right now. RD Archives. YouTube.
Guaranteed lifetime rate lock.
Back hurts. I'm not going to be doing nothing for us today until tomorrow. I'm not going nowhere until tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be a nice breakfast. That's about it. But today, guys, I'm just relaxing. Just relaxing is all I'm really doing. Okay, I'm going to put this up and watch some Artie archives. I'm just tired. It's like 1 o'clock. But yeah. I'm going back to bed later. So yeah, So tomorrow I'm gonna have to do a couple things tomorrow. Tomorrow I got work. So yeah, I got work tomorrow, and that's about it. And I hope everything I'm doing tomorrow works as planned because I am going to do stuff tomorrow that I got work to do tomorrow, so I can't wait to do it. Then after I'm done doing work, I'm gonna relax. I really haven't eaten nothing all day. So breakfast, that was it. So I got work tomorrow, and that's about it. I need to look at something later. Who's going to be buying? I know it's going to pay for that. I'm going to be cake tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm going to do some more reading tomorrow, maybe. Or today. I don't know yet.
And welcome to the Oddity Archive, the show that still sees the X. A little pandering there. So anyway, once again, we have arrived at the end of another season here in Archive Land. And as has become kind of unintentional tradition around here, I want to close out the season with one of my long brewing, long gestating projects. So with that, today I'm going to give a much belated second opinion behind Techmoan on the late, not so lamented CX, or Compatible Expansion Audio Noise Reduction System. And the big difference between Techmoan's video and mine is that I found myself falling down one of my patented rabbit holes with this one. And before you ask, yeah, this is going to be one of my little pissing off the audiophiles / audio fools type episodes.
It doesn't really matter to me. No, I'm watching more of his videos now than anything else. Both are.
Techmoan's video already did a good job at rounding up the history of CX noise reduction, but just to bring everyone up to speed, here's the basic lowdown. In the spring of 1981, CBS, as in Sony's music department, announced the arrival of CX encoded vinyl records. The idea was that CX would ultimately function as the vinyl equivalent to Dolby noise reduction. Like Dolby on cassette decks, CBS hoped that CX would ultimately become more or less standard on turntables and receivers. Also like Dolby, encoded material, so they claimed, could still be played back raw with little adverse effect. The first round of CX, or Compatible Expansion discs, dropped that summer. The thing is, despite teetering on the edge of being open source technology, neither hardware nor software ever really became readily available. If anything, of the LPs to make it to market, I'd be willing to bet heavily they were almost entirely purchased by people completely oblivious to the technology. Back in December of 2017, I put out an episode called Dynagroove and Friends, which was about some of the gimmicks and quirks of vinyl records to surface between the 50s and 80s. As I was researching that episode, by chance, Techmoan put out a video on CX noise reduction, which, as it turns out fairly accurately, claimed it was better, worse, and about the same as a standard vinyl record. More on that later. Anyway, to tie in with the Techmoan video, despite my inability to decode such things, I pulled my two CX encoded LPs for my own video, and it's stuck up my craw ever since. Over the next 4+ years, I kept a mostly fruitless running Fleabase search for, ideally, an outboard CX unit, which were theoretically capable of decoding and encoding. And I also started hoarding CX encoded vinyl and their standard counterparts. It took until early 2022, but a phase linear Model 220 finally turned up on Fleabay. Despite the $120 price tag for a probably non-working unit, I took the plunge anyway. It was the only outboard CX unit I'd ever seen at any price. And no, the more common ones meant to be used with a Laserdisc player don't work for the LPs. In fact, those have to be reset for each specific Laserdisc player. As is all too common with me, this whole CX thing has proven to be a massive rabbit hole. First off, as expected, the phase linear, henceforth the 220, was not in fully working order. The right decoded channel was dead. But in its own twisted, warped way, this slowly ultimately led me to the discovery that CX noise reduction was effectively open source technology. No proprietary chips or anything were involved, and by turn, any sufficiently skilled audio geek could fashion their own CX units for just the cost of parts. Indeed, the inside of the 220 was a little bit sparse, about akin to what I'd imagine a fair number of amateur builds might have looked like. It was a bit unnerving given that phase linear was usually known for some pretty nice gear. For what it's worth, yes, there were amateur build kits available.
So God bless the boys who make the noise on 16th Ave.
Given the
Works.
dead right channel, I figured it needed recapped, and I was wrong. Nonetheless, I figured the law of averages would dictate that it needed something in the soldering department, a tremendous weakness of mine. So, of course, I opted to send my uber rare 220 off to someone just a little more qualified. I sent off the 220 plus a CD of transfers of my two oldest raw CX LPs off to my good friend Ben, no relation, the madman behind classical gas emissions. In his own words, here's what went down.
So Ben had contacted me regarding this CX noise reduction unit that he had picked up. And he said, I picked this thing up, and one of the channels is dead, and I was wondering if you could do a recapping on it for me. And I said, sure, yeah, send it over, and I'll put some new capacitors in the thing. So it showed up here, and I fired it up, and sure enough, one of the channels was dead. So I was like, okay, well, let's just do a recapping on it, because replacing capacitors that have dried up over the years, like sometimes it will bring audio components back to life. And that's through my experience. I've been successful in doing that. So there was only like, I think 10 capacitors or something in this thing. So I replaced them all, fired it up, and the channel was still dead. I thought, okay, well, it's time to, get out the scope here and start poking around to see if I can find anything else wrong with it. So I started poking around, and there were, I think, 3 or 4 quad op amps in it. And they're chips. They look kind of like this. So they're 14-pin chips. So I started poking around with them, and
4 inputs were working on one of them, but it only had 3 outputs. So I thought, okay, well, let's go dig around in my junk and see if I have one to replace it with. Sure enough, I didn't have one. But I did find a single op amp, which comes in a package like this. It's got 4 pins on it. So I figured, well, this is.
From L'Oreal.
Stop it, whistle.
With depression, you just feel blah.
Not okay.
Resume.
All the sen-
My baby boy. Oh, my baby boy. You're being good. You have a kiss?
Thousand eggs. Cage-free farms account for a small part of American egg production, less than 2%.
Diamond.
The chickens have
Diamond.
free choice
Diamond.
all day long. These are the feeders right here. And then behind me are the nest boxes that we actually bring in from Europe. The environment of the nest boxes is a little darker, a little more secluded for the chicken, so she can feel a little protected when she wants to lay her egg, as opposed to being out in this open area. There's actually a
Diamond.
belt that runs underneath them that once a day we kind of shoo all the chickens out and the eggs roll onto this belt.
Chicken manure is handled differently at Petaluma Farms, where it's mixed into layers of litter on the chicken house floors.
We're using a deep litter situation where we put in 6 to 8 inches of rice holes on the floor so the birds can litter around and dust themselves. And actually, at the bottom end of it, as the birds get older, it will eventually compost on its own.
Like their counterparts at caged egg farms, Petaluma Farms cage-free chickens still need to have their beaks clipped right after birth.
If we left that hook on the end, they would do real damage to each other when they're picking at each other, even to preen each other.
Petaluma Farms also raises Rhode Island red chickens in an environment where roosters mingle with hens, producing brown-shelled fertile eggs. Embryos never develop in the eggs because they're refrigerated within a day of being laid. You might think a white egg comes from a white chicken and a brown egg from a brown chicken. Not necessarily.
The white egg, the brown egg, the difference actually is the earlobe of the chicken. It's a sex link. So the earlobe, if it's white, it's going to be a white egg, and if it's brown, it's going to be a brown egg.
Petaluma Farm eggs are cleaned, graded, and prepared for market, with technology similar to that used by larger caged farms, but on a much smaller scale. Market prices range from $3 to $5 per dozen. But that's still not top dollar for eggs laid in America. The highest price eggs.
Hi.
are some of the
Just
lowest
killing time. Just relaxing, watching TV. Killing time. Seeing what everyone's doing. Just killing time. Just trying to kill time. That's all I'm doing right now. Just killing time. I got videos coming up in a few days.
British horticulturalist Nigel Walker
So I'm just killing time.
20 years ago and purchased land to produce organic vegetables and farm fresh eggs. Laid by
Seeing all my babies, watching a little TV, hanging out. That's all I'm doing.
We don't even call us free range.
It's killing time. That's all I'm doing. Hi, he's killing time.
With 20,000 chickens in, with the door open. The chickens are not used to going out, they won't go out. These chickens go out all the time. We do everything.
Yeah, I go to Omegle. Not going to Omegle today. I'm just killing time today. He's doing nothing all day. He's relaxing.
Couldn't get close to anybody.
That's all I'm doing. Just relaxing. See what's there's something on TV, so I'm just relaxing, seeing what's going on. Just killing time. I just wanted to say hi. Okay. My back's hurting. I'm not in the mood to go talk to people right now. I'm just trying to just make some fun videos.
Low 51 winds west
Oh.
5 to 10 miles per hour.
I'm not going on there for a while. I'm gonna be doing some random stuff, so I'm not gonna go on there for a while. Oh,
Friday,
got an email.
cloudy, slight chance of a rain
Oh,
shower.
for crap.
75 winds
He's
west.
killing time. Got videos. I'm charging my camera right now so I can upload some videos for you guys. But I got some stuff coming up next week. I'm working on something for the channel next week. So next week I got some cool working out. Doing something for next week for you guys. So next Saturday I got to go get some footage made up next week, which can't wait to do it because it's something I've been. So yeah, next week I'm going to a car show here in town, and we're gonna see what they got. I got the camera working now, so it's charging right now because later on today I got videos to upload. Okay. I don't know what that means. Oh. I mean, I don't really go on there. I mean, I go on. I mean, if I'm just so, the only reason I go on there, I mean, I don't hardly go on there anymore. I only go on Amigo maybe once a week now. I'm only going on Amigo maybe once a week. The only time I'm going on Amigo now, I mean, actually, I think about only going on Amigo when I'm in cosplay. Okay, that's the only reason I'm going on Amigo. I'm gonna go on maybe once a week now. I mean, I'll go on maybe once a week. There's nothing on right now. I mean, I might go on there once a week though. That's the only time I'll go on maybe once a week for cosplay, and that's about it. Yeah, but right now I'm not sure yet. I mean, a couple of months I won't be going there in a couple of months because I'll be too busy doing other stuff. But yeah, I mean, I got some videos coming up, and I got some game videos coming out, so we'll see how that works out. But yeah. I'm not watching that. Not watching this. Yeah, so I'm just killing time. Just killing time till I have to feed the cats and then do other stuff.
Individual grassroots effort. It's more helping.
Just trying to figure out what to do. My channel's getting pretty good though. I mean, I'm doing my back's killing me because I was helping the neighbor out with some stuff. So yeah. Just relaxing. Just yeah.
Two chickens get into a fight here. There's room to run. The hens spend most of their days grazing on natural grasses or eating organic blends of grain and corn.
Like I said, usually when I go on Amigo, I make sure I have a camera recording the audio so people know, so I can confirm it. But yeah, most of the time, that's the only time I do. I usually record a camera or have a microphone nearby recording audio when I'm on Amigo. Most of the time, if I'm not having a device recording on Amigo, I don't go on Amigo. That's how I do it. I make sure I'm safe. Later on today, maybe I'll do some gaming later. Who knows? Ooh, I should do that later. I might do some city game later, guys. Might do some city game in a little bit. So yeah, I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do yet. I mean, right now I got Katie, I got all my big baby boys right here, and about so a little bit. I'll feed the cats and maybe go off a little bit, but I'm not sure yet. Back hurts, and I wasn't doing enough. I was not doing much today. I just did some. I went for a run this morning, and just some other things. But yeah, eventually you just get. I mean, a couple people. I mean, most of the people on Amigo are jerks, but a couple of them are pretty nice people, guys. There's one person on Amigo thought was pretty interesting. So yeah. So I'm gonna get off, guys. I'm gonna feed the cats in a little bit, then go do a game. So yeah, I'll see you guys in a bit.